All righty. We back at it again. Special segment. We got four of my brothers. Hopefully, my other one will be able to jump on as well. Um, but that video you just watched was done by none other than Mr. Lamar Cunningham, my brother that's on the line with us today. Did great work with that. Great, great work. So give
Thank you, brother. I'm
him
glad you liked it.
give him an opportunity to introduce himself, and then everybody else and go ahead and introduce themselves, and then we'll roll from there.
What's going on, everybody? My name is Lamar Cunningham, Fayetteville, North Carolina. Just excited about the opportunity to put my 2 cents on something that I feel is very important to our community, to our families, to melanated men in general. You know, appreciate the opportunity, and I applaud you for what you're doing, brother. And I pray that the Most High could just continues to bless you and just keep you focused on the goal, man. Because this is such a needed a needed topic right now, brother. So I'm just honored to be here to be a part of it. You know what I'm saying?
So I'm glad you appreciate you taking out the time to be with us today, man. I really do. All right, so Lee, I got you right next to him. So go ahead, introduce yourself.
All right, my name is Lee Boone. Um, uh, I'm so glad that we're having this discussion and the discussions to come because these are the discussions that we've been afraid to have. Uh, we need to get to the root of the problem in our communities, and I just feel like just nobody had a way to really articulate the intricacies of what is really going on and need to be addressed. And I'm so happy and I'm so proud of this book that I cannot wait for people to read because I know a lot of people are going to identify with that's what was inside of me that I couldn't get out of me. And I'm so glad somebody was able to articulate with what I was trying to convey. And so I'm just here and I just want to be a part of the body of the solution.
That's what's up. That's what's up. All right, Chris, go ahead, introduce yourself.
All right, so I'm Chris Taylor, Dillon, South Carolina native. Happy to be here to speak on this book, Can I Be the Man? A whole lot of subjects covered in that book. And I know that there's a whole lot more that was desired to be said. And I know that'll be covered a lot in some of these future videos. These past few meetings that we've had so far have been impactful. Got a lot of good feedback. So I'm just looking forward to seeing where it's gonna go because it's definitely what people need to hear, especially the men, especially our community.
Definitely. All right, D, you up?
Peace. Y'all know me already. Brooklyn County natives by the way of Fayetteville, North Carolina, 2-6, and damn, a little more. All right, Ron is on you. Let's go.
All right, I had to turn these doggone phones off, make sure that I don't get interrupted. But all right, if you don't know me already, my name is Naib Yasharala. Writer name is, the author of Can I Be the Man? A Letter from Us to You, um, which will be coming out here soon, or not pre-orders on the way. I'm super excited right now because I just got the finalization of the back cover and the spine. So we literally one step away from hitting the printer press. But I just feel like this is important. This is highly important. You done heard us talk two shows already in reference to accountability and things of that particular nature. So for me, this is the first step. First step, having this conversation amongst men and ladies. Don't think that you being left out. We're doing this in essence for y'all. But your time is coming. Your time is coming. Definitely is. So I'm ready to jump into it. I don't know if y'all how y'all live. I've been anxious all day, like ready, like man, for real. So what we gonna start at today?
So
What's the,
man,
what's the first topic we gonna go into?
I've been brainstorming on this all day long at work. I really don't know how I'm gonna phrase this question, but when I say it's about to be deep, it's about to be deep. So we talk about accountability, and we talking about the two basic things that a man is supposed to do is provide and protect. So we go speak on the protection side of things today. So my question is, what? Why is it so taboo for us in our community that we sweep under the rug the pedophiles and the molesters? That's the question of the day.
Mm. The pedophiles and the molesters.
Yes. And come on, we all know we either being preyed upon ourselves or we know people that's in our families or in our communities that have molested plenty of people.
Okay, so we're gonna
Oh my
talk from the
God.
feminine side or the male side.
Both. Start with the man side by now.
Okay, so I'll start by saying this. I can't speak for everybody else's household, but one thing that I do know is that in this facet, um, men and women are treated differently. The reason I say that is because the reality of it is men get raped just as well as women do. But you never hear us talk about it, say anything about it, anything of that particular nature, because it's not something that's common, quote unquote. But the reality of it is very much so common, very much so common. Me, taking myself for instance, um, I lost my virginity at a very, very, very young age. Too young, too young. And I can I can't even count on both hands how many older women, that I messed around with. I remember faithfully. I talked about it in my first book. Remember faithfully, I was like 13, 14. My grandma nurse knocked her down, but for me, uh, during that particular time, because I was young, or not, it was almost like a badge of honor. And I talked about how molestation as well as rape can be done through consent as well. Because I consented. I wanted it, but here I am, 13, 14 years old, and she at the very least was 25. The very least. So it's a taboo subject, especially from the male side, because in most households, it's something that's praised. You know, it's something like uh, what's the word? Rite of passage. It's a rite of passage, and yeah, everybody know how it is when you was in school. You know what I'm saying? For a male, being a virgin was not a good thing. It was not a good thing or whatnot. You in the locker room or whatnot, you got talked about and everything else. Even though you still had a few that was out there that stood strong on their beliefs and things of that particular nature. But what it is that we was taught was that It was a rite of passage, you know. And at that particular age, you was trying to get it wherever you could. It didn't matter whether she was ugly, old, young. It didn't make no difference. You just wanted that rite of passage to be able to say, huh, I'm a man. And I knowing you still a boy. You know, and I went through that for some years. For some years, you know. You know, I ain't gonna put nobody on blast or anything of that particular nature or whatnot, but hey, ladies, y'all made that job very, very easy. Very, very easy. You know, and granted, I can pull up pictures of how I looked when I was 13, 14 years old. They always said I look mannish. You know what I'm saying? I don't even know what that means. You know, I look mannish. But still, you know what I'm saying? You can look at me and tell that I won't grow. I won't. I'm still in junior high school. You know, and the crazy thing was, matter of fact, me and Lee was just talking about this not even a good 30 minutes ago. Not even a good 30 minutes ago. For some reason, when I was in high school, the girls that I wanted to talk to wouldn't give me a time of day. But the older women, that's what I was on. That's what I was on. Even when I was in high school, um, we talking about 16, 17 years old, and I'm still messing with 20, 21, 22, 23, 24 type of deal. You know, and that's what it was. So the girls that was my age, they didn't want to have nothing to do with me. The ones that was older than me, seeing what it was that I was doing, you know, own apartment, working, about to be a manager at McDonald's and everything else. I'm doing stuff that I evidently the men that they was around wasn't doing. You know, so I took a chance on it. You know, so it's definitely from, in my opinion, from the male perspective, it's looked more like a rite of passage than anything else. But we have to change the narrative on it. You know, I don't care how old they are. You know, at the end of the day, uh, one, they shouldn't be doing it to begin with. You know, we have to change the narrative on this whole rite of passage, losing the virginity and all that other good stuff. You know, uh, it's a precious thing, even for us. You know, we have to teach our sons how important where you plant your seed is. That way, they won't go through some of the heartache that some of us are going through now or have went through. You know, so I'm a back up. I'm a back up and let somebody else speak on it as well.
All right, so with it being said, you talking about just strictly male and female interaction. But what about when you got your own family members being involved with you inappropriately? And we talking about, we just go call it for what it is, man, homosexuality. Some of your people are supposed to, your family member, they're supposed to be taking care of you or looking out for you or whatever, all the ones just doing you the most damage. How do we combat that in our community?
One, we got to speak up. You know, I see a lot of signs and stuff around here that talk about we not our ancestors type of deal. So, you know, if that's going to be the sentiment, we need to be like that in every aspect. You know, because let's just keep it real. Everybody in the family knows who these individuals are. Every last one of them. You'll know it. You know, that family member that your parents would not leave you with, let you go around their house without them, you know, and I didn't care too much about them coming to your
No,
house.
right.
That's what I'm saying. They know. And the thing about it is, I don't give a damn whether it's family or not. You know, and this is where the accountability comes in there. That inner circle. If it's the family, you know, I know we want to see the best for our family, things of that particular nature, whatnot. But there's no reason why people ain't got their teeth stomped down their throat.
Facts.
Uh, something of that particular nature. You know, because I trust and believe when it come down to my kids, when it come down to my kids, especially my daughters, my sons, anything of that particular nature, say I'm a veteran as well. And so when I say 550 core, every veteran up here know exactly what it is that I'm talking about.
Good green stuff.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I will swing you from a
Mhm.
tree with that 550 core wrapped around your shaft and your balls.
That's a strong
And
rope.
make sure, yeah, and make sure that you swinging just low enough to where your fingers can graze the doggone grass,
Hmm.
but you can't balance yourself. This type of stuff that I'm on, because if we gonna keep it in the family, I'm gonna make sure that you'll never be able to do it to anyone outside the family, nor anybody inside the family. And for the ones that's holding the secret, shame on you. You know, because that's the reason why we had these issues and stuff with like the R. Kelly situation and everything else, right? Everybody has something bad to say about R. Kelly, but what about the people that was with him, right? Because they knew exactly what was going on, and I don't care how much doggone money he was forking out or anything of that particular nature or whatnot. That nigga, along with everybody that had anything to do with it, should have got their ass whooped.
That's a fact.
Man, granted, going to jail and everything else, that's good, that's cool. You know, they have their methods and ways of handling stuff like that in prison as well. We need to have our methods and ways outside, even before they get there. So let me again, I'm for real, cause you got me amped up right now. So I'm gonna let somebody else talk. Well, for real.
I think for me, that's for prayer and just being see this one, yeah, this one a little deep, bro. Cause I have 4 children myself, man. I got one daughter, and I could not fathom something like that happening to them. And what we did was we just made sure we was involved, man. We just made sure that we was involved in everything that they had going on. No, you can't go and spend the night at such and such house. Have we met their parents yet? No. Even family members. My mom and daddy. And you know my mom. Everybody on this call said, "Lee, know my mom and daddy." No, y'all can't go over there. Nothing to say that there was anything wrong with going over mom and daddy house, but y'all just not going over there today. That's how involved we were. You understand what I'm telling you? You just got to be involved with your children, and you have to be involved with your family. And I, I, I think look, I can't speak for anybody else family, but that wouldn't have flew in my family. That wouldn't have flew in my family. You molest any one of them grandbabies, nieces, nephews, whether you was an aunt, uncle, bro, you may God help you, sir. We didn't
Because
play
you're going
that,
to need
man. Yeah, we didn't play that. Especially me. This the reason why it cut so deep for me because I was molested by the babysitter at 7 years old. We were staying off the Merc on Pennsylvania Avenue. And I'll never forget it. I remember it just like it was 5 minutes ago. And when I told my mama, she told me I was lying. But
Oof.
at seven, but watch this now. At 7 years old, that cut me deep. For my mama to tell me that I was lying about something, I clearly at 7 years old don't know nothing about it. You want to know why I didn't know nothing about it? Because they were involved when we was coming up. We didn't get to go nowhere. It didn't make a difference if it was. We were always up on the mom and daddy. So you fast forward 40 years. When my mama said that I was lying, it wasn't because she didn't believe me. It was because she had already played out what the hell was getting ready to happen. And she couldn't believe that this is what was getting ready to happen. She getting ready to go and confront. Well, all I could tell you is I never seen him. I never seen him again after that. Now, what happened to him, I don't know. And I'm gonna leave that right there. But bottom line is, I know what it did to me, how it affected me 40 years later. And I know, and it had a major impact on how I raised my children. You understand what I'm saying? So that was one of the main reasons why we were so involved with our children, because of what I experienced at 7 years old. And you can best believe you was held accountable if you did something like that in our family. Ain't nothing to talk about. Ain't nothing to talk about. My babies? No, they precious, man. Now I'm gonna sit back, let somebody else get in on it.
I'll say this: there's a whole subjects like this make my mind spin, because I don't care how Christianly somebody is or how strong they feel about something. You can want the best. You can say, "Oh, you gotta love this person. You gotta do this. But at the end of the day, we don't have the resources or the environment to help these people the way they need to be helped. And for two, we're not gonna respond to something like that in a way that's gonna help them. The closest you might get to it is beat them, then treat them. But honestly, there is nothing set up to help a subject like this. And it's not even any focus to the men. Because when you think about the numbers that they quote as far as like how many are reported, that's just a fraction of what is actually happening. Because the amount of humility that you have to practice to come out and say something about being molested or raped or so forth and so on, especially for a man, is high. Because it's hard to say, because it's no different than how our men were depicted in the old days when they were emasculated. So admitting that, you're not only humbling yourself, but no matter how much compassion a lot of people have from you, you still have there's a little lowering of yourself in a lot of people's eyes. And that's the biggest problem we have right now. We haven't even learned how to console people and build people up. No matter how much compassion we have, we still look at them a little bit differently because they were exposed to something. Almost like how we look at a handicapped individual. We have that sense of, I don't really want to say empathy, but you just feel sorry for a person rather than being strong or loving for somebody and helping them to build and still holding them in the same light that you knew them before you found out about this action that happened to them. Because I could think about a lot of the stories that I heard when I was downrange, where there was this so-called guy that was drugging the water and going out and getting in the tent and raping a couple of guys and was getting away with it. And these type things get swept under the rug. I can think of how many times, I don't even know why they even came out with this sharp stuff in the military, because it did nothing good for the most part. What little bit of help it provided, it was still not enough, because at the same time, you're bringing attention to the problem, but most people are just tired of hearing it, because why should you preach about this subject matter if you're doing nothing to fix it? How many senior NCOs and officers are getting pushed to another company and forced to retire rather than being dealt with for the crimes that they're doing? Yet if a private does something, you kick him out and destroying his life. It's been too much rubbing hands for people that's sitting up top, and there's no healing for the people that are going through the stuff. And that's just the ones that are actually being molested. We ain't even got on the subject matter of people that are being accused of these things that aren't guilty of them. because the same way that that person that actually does it is looked at in the public view, the person that was falsely accused is looked at the same way. And 9 times out of 10 or more, you don't see their innocence. Their innocence is hardly ever proven. And then when a lot of them are proven, it's like, oh, well, it's all right. We just gonna settle it this way, and bam. We don't really care about how much time you lost in your life, how it's changed your life, careers lost, opportunities lost. Starting all over from the ground, from the roots, to build yourself after an incident that destroyed you. What Ron was talking about earlier, after D posed the question, it talked to a lot of the, 2 different ends of the spectrum. Because one part is where we talk about how we make it this big thing, that rite of passage for males to lose their virginity. And it goes just as far, like I remember days when I was in college, there were guys that were virgins, and because I was a part of it. Hey man, you gotta lose your virginity. We're gonna get you hooked up. Why was that a thing? But then on the other end of the spectrum, what about these adults that know better? Because some of these people didn't want to do this when they were young. And then they get older and they're like, I wish I'd have just waited. Or I wish I never had that happen to me. Where's the accountability for that adult that chose to put that child in that position? It doesn't matter if he wanted it or not. You knew better. You knew the mindset. You've been through life. You had experiences. You know how a lot of people respond to this stuff. They didn't really want it. They get older in age and like, I wish I hadn't done this. But you in your adulthood took advantage of this child and you introduced them to something that they didn't need to be introduced to. Kind of like what we were talking about after the call yesterday. The experience of sex, once you have that climax, it is no different than being hit with all kinds of other drugs and the endorphins that's released and so forth and so on. That chemical reaction. It's no different than tasting a new food that you like. Eventually, you're going to crave it again. And if you have addictive behavior, you're going to always run back to it, or it's going to be a distraction for you because you have a whole new appetite for something else that you hadn't had before because you knew nothing about it. And we're exposed to it visually, auditorily, everywhere. So it's not even unfamiliar to the younger cats now growing up. And that's the sad part, because the level of the thing of accountability goes all the way up. In every aspect, every place, there is a level of responsibility that needs to be handled. Just like I think the first call, when we were talking about like Skinamax, HBO back in the day, that didn't happen till late night on certain nights throughout the week. Kids were asleep. Or you can go further back. I remember my parents talking about back in the day, you get the news, then at the end of that day, probably about 7, 8 o'clock, there was no TV. Not the parents, I mean the TV, the station, it was nothing being broadcast at that time. But now we're flooded with this stuff. But I digress.
My apology for knocking out my cam. I was having an emotional moment. but right. It's definitely 2 sides of it. And Lamar, I know that the women that are watching and the ones that will watch is definitely going to identify with you and your particular situation. Or not, because I hear it. I hear it a lot, especially from women in reference to, I didn't say anything, or I tried to say something and nothing was done. They didn't believe me. Things of that particular nature, whatnot. Is
But you know what though, man? I said something. You know what I mean? And something was done. But let's talk about even past all that. You know, the effects that it had on me going through elementary school, middle school, high school. You know what I'm saying? And even in my marriage life, you know, that's some traumatizing shit, man. And you know, it's taken me years to get to the point where I'll even say anything about it. You understand me? I just sit back and think about it now and remembering how I felt at 7 years old and when we got back to the house and I had to sit, you know, mama, she told me that she stood me in front of in the living room and she said, just tell me what happened. I told her what happened and what he said and where he was touching me and stuff at. And she said, well, what did you do? I told her I tried to bite him. Well, she said, well, and then she said, well, where was Monte? Well, Monte was standing right there. And I'll never forget, she said that mother did all of that in front of both of my babies. And the next thing I know, she told me to go to bed. I went in the room. I heard her get on the phone and she left. I never went, we, of course, you know, we never went back over there. She never said anything about it. And next thing I know, my uncle went to prison. So the ramifications after something like that and the effects that it has on you for the rest of your life is traumatizing. And man, I had low self esteem all my life, bro. All my life, I had low self esteem, and I wouldn't put myself in auxiliaries that I knew I would probably thrive at, and I knew I'd probably do well at, but I just didn't do it. You know what I mean? And you know, y'all know me. You know, man. You know, the three of y'all know me for about 20 years. Y'all, I understand we on this video, but y'all know what I've been through and how hard it has been for me to get to where I am right now. And so if there was anything that I could say to anybody that's ever gone through something like that is you have to know your worth and you have to know that there is help and that there are people who genuinely and truly care about your well-being and that are there to support you and that are there to help you. But you cannot hold that in and you cannot beat yourself up about it. It ain't your fault. You can't you can't wallow in it. You just got to push forward. I know it seems cliche, but you just got to do it because if not, it'll kill you. Literally, it will kill you. So I'm off my soapbox on that for the rest of this call.
So, real quick, well, now we talked about the effects, and I said up there open and honest discussion, so I'm gonna be 100% honest, right? I can't say I went through the exact same thing because it wasn't an adult. It was literally, it was a friend. To be quite honest, it was my best friend um, that touched me inappropriately, you know, or whatnot. And we talking about a boy, you know, and the effects. It messed me all up. You know, one because this at the time this was my best friend. You know, we did everything doggone together. You know, and I always knew that he was a little. He didn't act. He wasn't. He wasn't. It's the word for it. We didn't operate the same. We had a lot in common, but we didn't operate the same. You know, he was a little bit more in touch with his feminine side than I guess what than
Most
most
was
than most type of deal. You know, and I stayed the night at his house, woke up, and it was some inappropriate stuff that was going on. Type of deal. That's about as far as I'm gonna take it in reference to that. But it messed me up, you know, because I spent a long time after that trying to not prove to anybody else because I never really talked about it. You know, not with my parents, not with my sisters, siblings, anything of that particular nature, right? But I spent the better part of my life running through females, trying to prove to myself that I wasn't a homosexual, even though I knew that I wasn't. But that one experience, literally, you know what I'm saying, traumatized me. Even what I talked about before with the grown women and stuff that I was with, you know, for me, that was like the ultimate showing, proving to myself that I'm something that I already knew I wasn't. You know, so man, I think I was probably in my late 20s, just before me and my wife got together, that I really came to terms and to grips with it. You know, so we talking down there 20 years, you know, of fighting this internal struggle, and it's hard. It's hard. It's hard on us. It's hard on women. You know, for us, it's just a completely different dynamic to it. You know, because this, like I said, a lot of people feel like we're not supposed to have emotions. You know, stuff like this, um, we ain't supposed to be talking about. You know what I'm saying? It's supposed to be, you know, that's a skeleton that's supposed to stay in the closet. But the reality of it is, it happens and it happens a lot, too much. And quite frankly, from a male perspective, we never had the real platform to be able to discuss things of this particular nature.
Hey, matter
You
of fact, I don't mean to interject. I
get
remember, I believe you came from overseas when you were married to Chaz, and I believe that's when I read your first book, I believe. I remember you and I talked about it then, because when I had did my song called "The Damage Is Done," and that's when you and I had that
mm,
conversation about how common it was. And I believe Lamar and I had a conversation a few years before I spoke to you about it, and that's when he shared the story with me, and it made me realize, like, yo, like it's so common in our community, but we don't get the chance to talk about it. I mean, long story short, I mean, I've been there myself. I was a victim. I'm gonna with me. I'm gonna try to lighten the mood up a little bit. I remember my most recent. It was in high school. It didn't happen, but I had told my twin brother this about a week or two ago. I'm one of them. I do carry grudges. I don't speak to certain people till this day because of the situation that we're talking about. But I remember I had a male cousin of mine. Dude had the audacity to tell me, he said, yo, I'll suck yours if you suck mine. I'm like, nigga, what? I said, well, I ain't never talked to that man a day again in my life. I believe it's been about, what am I? I'm like 36. I believe it's been about 21 years I haven't spoken to that guy. I'm like, no, no sir, Bob. Um, Going into the other side of the spectrum though, my mom and I, we had a conversation a few months ago. And I just called her in the middle of the night and I told her, I said, yo, you remember so and so, so and so. This wasn't even a family member. But she was like, yeah, I remember him. That was the landlord's grandson. I said, yeah, he was a child molester too. Why didn't you say anything about it then or whatever? I'm like, we young. What can you say? This stem from, I remember I had posted on Facebook a few weeks ago. I said something about um I know poverty, coming up in poverty will make you do some what's the word I'm looking for? Make you do some stuff that you normally wouldn't do. And I remember, my mama growing up, we was in impoverished and stuff of that nature. So Every time when we be out of school, you have to leave your kids with some of anybody just so you can go to work. So that's how the situation came about. And so I'm trying to get emotional myself talking about it. But I just told her, I said, yeah, like he was one of them. And she was like, I figured that you had your brother there or whatever, that y'all would be able to defend each other or speak up or something. I'm just like, then you just didn't play out like that. I'm like, but I'm just telling you now, like, I'm grown now. And it's even, I don't even like being around certain dudes myself. If it ain't really, you know, Ron, Lamar, or some of the other 18 members, I don't like being around dudes, man. That's just the facts.
I said what I said out of fear. I couldn't, I knew it wasn't right. It was no way I could have went, and not say I said what I said out of fear. Telling my mama, and that's what it was. It traumatized me, what I mean, for this man to be grabbing on me and touching on me like that. I knew that won't right. I see him. So it was fear driven when I said what I said. And then, like I told you, when my mama said that I was lying, I'm like, okay, growing up, the one thing you didn't do was lie. So here it is. I got this situation right here that I just told my mama what happened, and she think I'm lying. So now I'm really traumatized. Now I'm sweating bullets. You understand what I'm saying? Just picture that. Just think about that. My mama think I'm lying about this. It was rough, though. It was rough, and for years, y'all. I'm telling you, struggle with that thing, bro. Struggle with it. Every now and then it'll get the best of me, and I just got to just know my worth. Look at like I can look around. Okay, I'm all right. My family is all right, but I'll be damned if I'm gonna let that happen to any one of mine. Like I said, it just goes back to being involved. You
Yep.
just got to be involved, man.
One thing I'm starting to notice as a big problem is a lot of people don't understand emotion when it comes to a man. Because if you take in the the bulk of this conversation, only the men or those who are raised by men understand how a man shows emotion. Now, you do have those who act in or off of their emotion, but a real man that understands how a man responds to stuff, they would sing a myriad of emotions that were displayed just in the past 30 minutes. A lot of people don't recognize sadness if they don't see tears. They don't recognize anger if they don't hear the inflections, as well as any of the other emotions. But when a man speaks, everything is in his words. The body language says a lot as well. We don't need inflections. Our word choice in itself speaks loudly. Anybody that's not what we would deem an alpha being approached by one, especially one that doesn't really act flamboyantly out of his anger, is exaggerated in his step, they back down based off of words, facial expressions, body language, so forth and so on. Even how a man responds to them or their words, they understand this is not one to be tried. This is one that's going through this. It's seen, it's felt. But the problem is, it's not that men aren't saying these things. The problem is they're not being heard. So even in this, if we were to carry this into relationship, you would see why there's so many different issues that cause divide, because the woman doesn't understand how the man shows emotion. or works through emotion. Even like when you read the scripture and it says, be angry, but sin not. A lot of people don't understand what that means. I don't have to act out of my anger, but I need to act responsibly with discipline with my anger. But only few understand how people show or display their emotions in the right way, because we've only seen the wrong way. We're only taught this is the way to do it because that's what we're used to. But when are we going to change what's the social norm or the norm to what's right?
Starts now.
You know,
Starts now.
I need to say something. You know, I listened to y'all talk and I just found myself leaning all the way into y'all situation and just trying to put myself there. And I just hurt. And I think that's the problem today. We just don't have no compassion for each other, man. It's like as long as everybody's doing what they're supposed to do, as long as everybody got their stuff situated and everybody got their stuff squared away, they don't care about what's going on with somebody else. They don't even care about looking into what's going on with somebody else. They don't even care that this person might be having a facade over their face. This person's actually thinking about killing themselves today. And they too proud to say, what's up? How you doing, man? It's like, man, I'm sitting here and when I open my mouth, my voice is cracking and, you know, my tone is not normal. And it's like, all you got to do is say hello to somebody. And when they open their mouth, you can feel the energy and give yourself an opportunity to do that, because you might have something that for them to save their lives, because they may be on their way to end it all. Man, I got 4 daughters. I got one daughter I cannot see, no matter how bad I want to see her and be in her life. The system has eliminated any option for me to be in her life. And my oldest daughter is 17. I hadn't seen my daughter since she was 14 months old. I was deprived of the opportunity to be able to get in the back of the pack of my family and keep an eye on them. My wife and my children and I, we walk today. And it's so funny because without thinking about it, I'm walking behind them.
Alpha male status.
I wasn't even thinking about it until I did it, man. And I was just walking behind them, and it was just like, man, I wish a motherfucker would.
Man, come on, boy. Come on, man.
Don't nobody watch my kids. Nobody. No babysitters. I'ma always know where my kids at. I'ma always know what my kids doing. Or I'm gonna die trying. And you know, my dad wasn't, and a lot of this comes from the daddy issues that we're trying to work through as men. Because we all that didn't have our daddies present in our lives, we're trying to work through those issues. I remember when I played football at Ohio State. Man, I had the worst daddy issues. I would do something and I would be like, Coach, did I do that good? Coach, I was looking for affirmation. And these young boys are looking for affirmation. But you know, my mom, we didn't have babysitters growing up, and my mom wouldn't let my friends come over my house. Naib, you and I were the best of friends, man, but you don't remember coming to my house.
Not at all.
And it won't nothing against you. My mom just had a policy. If I can't see it, it ain't happening. And we live in a different day and age, because when I was young, I'm talking about 8, 9 years old. When I got home from school, there was no babysitter. My mom said, you lock the door, you don't open the door, you stay in there until I get there. You stay in there until I get there. And she didn't play. And it's sad, because we live in a world where 80% of our children are born into a single family. That woman's got a choice between going to jail for neglect because she's trying to work, and she doesn't have enough money to be able to pay for a babysitter. And so she gets some suspecting low-life family member to come watch the kids because they ain't got nothing else to do. And it's a reason a lot of times they don't have anything else to do. And then she's worried all day and all night, as long as she's gone, I hope my children are safe. And it's just what you said. When something does happen, the child is so ashamed that something has happened that they a lot of times don't even say anything. They don't have the gall to be able to do what Lamar did. Most of them will sit back and be quiet. And I just feel like sometimes it's people it's people choosing to have babies and still maintain their independence and their single livelihood. I want to go to the club on Friday. I want to do this. I want to do that. No, when you decide that you're going to have a child, you are saying that child is the most important thing, and getting them off to the best start is what you need to do. So forsake all things for the purpose of family, because family is the greatest institution in the history of this world. There is nothing greater than that. Ain't no career, ain't no party, it ain't no nothing. And we are so brainwashed to think that the streets got something for us and something is out there for us. I mean, it's not all situations, but I'm so grateful. And I don't know how, but I guess during the time when we were growing up, it was common for a child to be at home by themselves. It wasn't the safest situation, but there was strict regulations for those that went through that. And it's like, we have those situations and the child staying home. You cannot do that today. You cannot do that today. You could leave a 13-year-old at home and the police can be at your door. Like, what are you doing? And it's just like the system is fighting us and it's taking things away. And that's why the woman and the man need to go ahead on and hash it out. Hash it out. Because we need each other. We need that woman, and that woman need us men. Let's hash it out, man, because we are losing sight of the biggest picture, and that is the legacy. The legacy. Yeah, I can understand, Naib, when you said that you were trying to fight in your life to prove that you were a man, even though you knew that you did not like the people of the same sex, but you were trying to fight to prove. Show yourself and prove. When you got older, you probably realized, man, what was I trying to prove to everybody else? That was an internal issue that needed to be worked on self. We don't have anybody around to do that, man. And I know, man, everything I'm saying is convoluted, man. I'm trying to collect my emotions about it, man. But it's just like, that's why I'm here, because it ain't about me and my family. Like, this stuff that's going on in our community, it can come to all of our doorsteps. That's why when you see the things that happen with, not to be off the subject, but that's why when you see the things that happen with the George Floyd situation, no matter how you feel about it, but you see white people saw racism knocking on their door. Racism wasn't a problem when you didn't have to deal with it. But now the stuff is knocking on your door, and now you want to elicit some change. So we go through 400 years of the bull crap, and y'all can't sit in the house for 4 to 8 weeks before y'all standing out there with y'all guns and y'all ready to just say, I've had enough of it. And black men in particular, the black community, this is a normal for us. And I'm telling you right now, listen, I look at my children, man. They look at me like I'm the hero, man. They think daddy can do anything, anything. I don't even discipline my children. I walk in the room and stuff is straight. Crying, hollering, yelling, walk in the room, shut it down. That's because my presence is there. I don't have to do anything. My wife do all of the discipline.
Daddy don't play.
But she got a backup weapon. She said, "Don't make me go tell your dad."
Okay.
This is the presence that is needed in the male household, because guess what? When you got it, you don't have to flex. And it's something that women do not have, that men have. It's the it factor for shaping and molding the thing. And we need to get this apology done, out of the way, and over with. You need to speed up this book release, because it's got to get out. Because these people, they got to see what this apology is. And listen, some things aren't gonna make any sense to you ladies. Some things aren't gonna make sense to you fellas. But you got to apologize, and you got to accept, and you got to receive us, and you got to let us be the man. Because look, man, my wife is letting me be the man, and I can see how it's paying off in my household.
I got to say this. There's two valid points that you made that makes me want to put this on the table. You said something about the presence of a male figure. I've ever felt was I was coming up in high school. My mom and I didn't get along anymore, so it was time for me to go. My biological father had the opportunity to take me in, the same way how Ron feels about his son Deron, that I have to step up and mold you into being the man that I want you to be. My father had the opportunity, and he turned it down. He was like, I don't think that two grown men can get along with each other. I'm like, you didn't even try. So with that being said, a lot of people don't know this, but outside of Taylor coming into the fold within the past few years, I've always been the baby of the 18 group. That's how it's always been with some everybody. And I'm like, I've learned to watch y'all grow into the men that y'all became. I know I just made this comment about Monte yesterday, about how Monte would be trying to little brother me all the time. But with that being said, there's a lot of stuff that I missed out on growing up. I'm like, I just missed out. I'm like, I didn't have I had uncles that tried to come into the fold later on when I was like about 16 or whatever, but by then it was kind of too late. Like I learned a lot of stuff by either being around y'all or watching some of the mistakes that y'all made. Not speaking about that negatively, but I'm just saying, learning off of experience.
Yeah. Lee, man, you hit something that reminds me of our father. Okay, so for a lot of people that don't, a lot of people might not know this, but the man in which me and Tay call father is he's our stepfather. I was 4 years old when he came into our life, and Monte was 2. What you said was so profound about the presence of a man being in the house. Not taking anything away from my mama. Boy, let me tell you, my mother didn't play. Oh boy, my mama did not play. And she was strong, and she was about her boys. But it was just something about Tyrone being in our lives growing up. And I'm gonna tell you one of the things that he used to do that really helped me today with how I father my sons. I have 3 boys and I have 1 girl. Daddy used to do something like this. He would say, he'd be in another room and me and Monte would be in the other room playing. And out of nowhere, he'll say, Lamar Monte. And he'll say it in that voice, and we would stop what we was doing and we'll look at each other and we start running down the line. Okay, the way he just called us don't sound too good. Did you do something today? Because I know I didn't do anything today. Well, we need to hurry up and go in there and see what's going on. Well, when we got in there, he would just do this little number right here. He would just sit back and he would look at the both of us and he would look us both in our face. He say, Bo, just want you to know I love you. And he would ask both of us to come and give him a hug. All right, now y'all going back and play. When I think about that now, and you were talking about showing emotion, that's powerful to me because I can show that nurture emotion to my children. And I think it's important for our children to experience that, especially young men, well, especially with fathers having boys, because I know what it did for me. It made it easy for me to embrace my children. It made it easy for me to tell my brothers that I love them. And it helped take away from that pain that I suffered through that situation that I was telling y'all about. That helped me uh, understand what my value was. It helped me understand what my worth was. So that male figure in the house is
But
very
it's
important.
different.
It's very important.
Hold on. The key word, that active male figure in the house.
Yeah. I don't think that again, not taking anything away from my mama, but coming from where we came from, I don't think I would have turned out the way I turned out had it not been for, my father being in the picture the way he was. Not our biological. We talking about our stepdaddy, somebody who did not have to do what he did. You understand me? This man made a conscious decision to say he's gonna be our father. And I'm gonna tell you this other story. We were staying in Pepper Ridge Trailer Park off Shaw Road. And mama made some oodles and noodles with some chopped up hot dogs. And we were sitting at the table. And I remember I was sitting right here, Monte was sitting right there, and Daddy was sitting right here on my right. And I looked over at him, I said, "Can we call you Daddy?" And Mama was sitting across from us, and he said, "Well, Bo, that's something me and your mama gonna have to sit down and talk about." The next thing I remember is we was downtown Fayetteville at the courthouse, and they was getting married. And ever since then, that man has never, that man has never left our side.
That's a fact.
That man has stood by my mama, and she wasn't the easiest wife to get along with, bro. But he showed us what love was. He showed us he showed us how to be a man. He showed us how to go out there and make an honest dollar. And that thing you said about when you decide to be a father, nothing comes before that. This man, he did everything with us. And the reason why I'm so emotional right now is because when I started having kids, I didn't do that. I was that guy that still wanted to go and party every Friday. D, you can attest to this. We was working for 104.5. We was on the street team.
Wednesday through Sunday, we was always somewhere in somebody's club.
Yep. Yep.
Every night of the fucking week, y'all, we was in them streets. Meanwhile, my wife is at home and she's taking pictures with the babies, just all kinds of stuff. And I would look at pictures. When did you take this picture? When did you take that picture? Well, where was I at? You didn't say a word. She just said you was out that night. Crushed me.
Mm.
Crushed me. I was fucked up. Crushed me. All of those smiles that those babies had on their face, I didn't see that because I was too busy in the street. Yeah, I seen the first steps, but could you imagine how many steps that I could have seen and how many smiles I could have had, or you know, all of those moments that really matter in a toddler's life? I didn't get that because I'm too busy in the street, skipping and dipping, smiling in these fucking females' faces. That's what I'm out there doing. But then I think about what my daddy did for me. Never did nothing like that. Every Friday, daddy was at the house if he wasn't clocked in somewhere. So yeah, we definitely need to have the conversation. And I'm gonna be the first to apologize. I was listening to that first video that y'all did. Lee, you was talking about the beta male. Bro, you was talking about me. I thought I was the alpha male. I thought that because shit, I'm paying the bills. I'm
You kind
bringing
of
in the
cleaned that
money.
up in the second video.
Yeah.
But you understand what I'm saying, though.
Yeah, we get it.
I
Mhm.
thought that do what I want to do.
Yeah, man, but it's
Man,
beautiful because you alive to catch it. See, some people go straight to the grave and they don't get a chance. So it's like the past is the past. We look at it, we learn from it, we deal with it, we own up to it. And it's like you look back at your trail in the sand. It's like the footprints in the sand. You look back at your trail and you're not really happy with your trail. Now, I just made a video about this being excellent in your moment. To come to the realization that you come to is super because now you can take those nasty ass boots off and you can go ahead and start earthing, get your feet in the sand, and let your toes tingle. And then you can take one step at a time and be excellent and intentional with every step that you take. All of us, this is for all of us, being excellent in the moment and the decision that we have to make and think and look as far down the road as we can when we make those decisions, like your stepdad. And like when, and my wife, let me bless her heart, my wife makes my life ignorantly simple. Ignorantly simple. I got an office down the street, less than a mile from the house. And I can tell my wife, all right, it's Friday. I'll see you Monday. And she'll say, all right, babe, call me if you need me. And she know I'm handling my business and doing what I'm supposed to do. And I'm fighting, clawing, scratching, and I'm digging for everything that I can get out of that moment. And sometimes, and man, I'm not winning, man. But you know what? I try my darndest to just be excellent in the moment, and I don't think too much about the future because I've already sat back and scoped out my future about where I want to go. It's embedded in me. It's on my forehead. It's on my hand. It's with me. But I just try every day to just be excellent in the present moment because it's too overwhelming to think about the past and it's too overwhelming to think about how much I got to do in the future, man. But it's like when I think about this life that I live, man, these are the things that are important to me. My wife, my children, my community. And alpha male, beta male. Okay, we straightened that out on the second video. Go check that out. But I want to use everything that the Most High gave me. I want to use everything the Most High gave me, and I want to stretch it out as far as I can, and I want to go as deep as I can, even if it's the life of me. I want to stretch it out. And I think sometimes we get caught up in gratification. We get caught up in what's the reward for doing what I'm doing. Man, sometimes you cheating the Most High from being the rewarder that He is, because you're looking for reward from somebody else. We just need to reach out as far as we can. We need to enlarge and expand our territory. It says, like the Bible says, it says He opened the windows of heaven and He pours out a blessing bigger than your cup. And it's just like every day we need to be asking the Most High to expand and enlarge our territory, not for ourselves, but man, some people that are hanging around us are like the salsa to our cup. And all they're going to get is what our overflow is. And we got to make sure that we're doing everything that we can. Man, these streets ain't for nobody. Man, ask these 30 and 40 and 50-year-olds that played in the street and ask them, man, what did you gain from it? What did you get from the experiences from it and everything like that? And they all tell you the same damn thing. They tell you it's just emptiness in it. And it's just like, we got to be at the forefront. We got to be at the back of the pack of our families. We got to watch over them, make sure nobody's getting left behind. And we need to communicate. Naib and I had this conversation about critical thinking. Putting these children in these situations, have them critically thinking about what they would do in these situations, their different variations, outcomes, different types of things, giving them the exercise, being present to give them the exercises so that they can understand. And you're not going to teach them everything, but give them the present, let your presence be in tune with the situation and give them exercises and listen, what are you going to do in this situation if this happens? What about this? What about that? Listen, you need to know how to you need to know how to change a tire. You need to know how to be able to change your brakes. You need to know, I'm going to exacerbate everything that I got into you, and I'm going to pour everything that I got from my soul into you, and I'm going to make sure that even if I make a mistake, it's not going to be from an effort. I'm just going to continue to pour into you. I'm going to pour my soul into you. I'm going to pour my soul into you because I'm not a human being. I'm a spiritual being having a humanistic experience. And I got to get this pass and I got to get this try right the first time around. Then it don't matter how many mistakes I made, how many times I made them, how many times I was playing in the street, how many times I was doing all of other stuff like that. The Most High caught me right now. He got me straight. I done became aware of what I did. I became aware of what I did. I'm going to man up. I'm going to apologize for it. I'm going to humble myself. I'm going to take it. And I think sometimes when we talk about our women in terms of this book, Can I Be the Man? It's like, man, we know we're going to have it out with them. We know they're going to snap their necks and do all that little crazy mess that they do from all that little westernized civilization bullcrap that's going on in our community, men and women. And we just got to be man enough to weather that storm, man, because we're in a dangerous, dangerous situation right now as a community. I mean, we are all PTSD from something. If it ain't the government, if it ain't the police brutality, if it ain't the molestation, we are some messed up people in general. And that's why we got to focus and concentrate and own our bag. Just own our bag of stuff. Forget about what everybody else thinks. Try to be excellent in that freaking moment. And then you're going to create what? 21 days to create a habit, 42 days to create a lifestyle. That's the mindset we got to have. And we got to have an urgency about all of us, myself included. Because, man, it hurts, man.
So, ladies, I don't know whether y'all see it or not, right? But I hope you understand and see the importance of fathers in the midst of this conversation. we talked about in the last one as far as losing our importance. And we need y'all to understand that we are our presence is important too. You know, my father was a little bit different, a little bit different. Schizoaffective, or not in and out of the house, but his presence was there. You know, and I caught the experience of uh, having my father show me emotions and um, showing me affection, giving me hugs, kisses, telling me he loved me the whole nine. You know, and it was some points because he did it in front of my friends too. You know, I didn't always, you know what I'm saying, appreciate it, you know, type of deal. But when I got older, I'm so happy that I was able to experience that. And I'm not gonna say that we have the best of relationships because we don't, you know, and that's really the way I see it is no fault to either one of us, you know. But the same way that it helped Lamar, you know, it helped me in being able to show affection, show love, you know what I'm saying, to my kids, to my sons. And you know, I didn't have the experience of as far as my stepfather. We didn't get along at all. Didn't get along at all. But the crazy thing is, I am one now. Have been for
Mm-hmm.
some years. You know, we talking about 16 years old. You know, 2-year old. That's not mine, but he mine. You know, even to this day, we don't have the best of relationships because we didn't. Me and his mama didn't make it, and it impacted him a lot. You know, but I still check up on him. Nobody can tell me that he ain't mine. I spent almost 10 years in this juggle life instructing and everything else. And I wish somebody would tell me something of that particular nature. I got two in the house right now, you know, adopted. They mine. And according to some men out here or whatnot, I be considered a simp
Mm-hmm.
because I'm taking care of somebody else's kid. No,
Yeah, let me tell you, let me jump in there for a second, man. So, as y'all know, my oldest daughter is not biologically mine. However, I cut the umbilical cord. I I did Lamar's classes. Let me see, what was it? What, 2 years ago, 3 years ago?
Yeah.
I was on my man cave porch on my birthday,
I remember this.
smoking cigarette. My wife came out there with my daughter. And she had this. Now this is in response to what you said about motherfuckers calling you. Um,
That's it.
yeah, but I didn't heard it too, and it never mattered to me. But this story I'm about to tell you makes it all worth it. I'm sitting out there smoking, and she came out there with a envelope, and she said, "Well, Daddy, this is for you." So I opened the envelope, and my gift that she gave me was a, uh, the adoption paperwork. Okay, and it kind of threw me off because they had phones out all in my face, trying, recording everything. And I'm like, yeah, what's all the cameras for me to open the envelope? When I opened it and I read what it was, I cried like I just lost my mama. I'm talking about sobbing, couldn't breathe, cry, that ugly cry. And we went to court, and my baby got my last name. She's now in the United States Air Force, and when she FaceTimes me, it's just something about seeing that Cunningham across her chest. You understand me? But I learned that love from my father. My brother Tay, he's a stepfather. All of my uncles are stepfathers. You understand me? So love is love, and love is unconditional.
Mm.
It's not the child's fault, and I don't feel like they should have to, suffer behind that. And I wouldn't have it no other way. I wouldn't have it no other way. When I think about my daughter, I love her just like just like she was blood. I don't see no step nothing. Tyrone, my stepdaddy, he loved us unconditionally. Unconditionally. Oh, you not you? Oh, you just a step? No, oh, he didn't do us like that. He loved us unconditionally. That's why I learned it. That's why it was easy for me when we was on Fort Bragg and I was pushing my wife. She about to pop. She said, "Well, what's gonna happen when the baby get here?" I said, "No plans on going nowhere." 20 years later, we saw our daughter off to Mississippi. In a couple weeks from now, my daughter gonna be on her way to Alaska. My baby. You ask Tyrone about his sons, he's gonna say they're my babies. So I salute any man out there, stepfather and a child that's not biological. There's something about you. There's something about you. There's something special about you, sir. I salute you, sir. I mean, we can sit up here and talk until we blue in the face. Bottom line is a child needs mama and daddy.
Mm-hmm.
Period. A child needs mama and daddy. Whether he now
Right.
preferably in the house at the same time, but that child needs that equal balance. Them's just the facts, y'all. The child needs the mom and the daddy.
And
Trey, boys in the hood.
real talk, I ain't gonna lie. Like I'm listening to y'all talk about y'all situations from the past and the present. And I'm like, I don't want to say I'm jealous or envious, but I am. I ain't get that. Our father was around. I don't take that from him. Anytime we were calling, we would need something. He did what he was supposed to do. He provided. We had a lot of good times when he had us and stuff of that nature. But as far as the core principles, didn't get that. As far as that stepfather element that y'all talk about, that y'all had another male figure to step up, but we didn't get that. We live almost the movies. You know how they talk about how the step parent was just evil and malicious and all that. That's what we got. There wasn't a lot of joyous occasions coming up in my childhood. And I ain't go front. I ain't go front. It's like I kind of feel some type of way listening to y'all talk about that. I said, damn, I feel like we missed out.
But check this out though. Check this out though, D. So boom. So you come into our life and you think you was 17, 18. You no,
Nah, I was a little bit older than that.
you was a baby. I put it like
I
that.
was
You was a
around
baby.
20.
You
My
way to
whole
go.
adulthood, I
Yeah.
came up under y'all.
So, but that same love trickled down to you. This how it works. This is how it works. That same love trickled down to you. Just imagine if I didn't grow up with that kind of upbringing, and Rome didn't grow up with that kind of upbringing, and Lee and Taylor, do you think this circle and each individual do you think that this circle would be the way it is right now?
Hell nah.
I can't love you if I don't know how to love, bro.
Not at
Can
all.
only give what you got.
And I can't recognize love unless I've been loved. I can't be a brother unless somebody was a brother to me. So that you feel like you missed out on, you got it. You want to like so. I'm envious of my children. Let me tell you why. They look one. Listen, one because they spoiled. Number one, two. So they got both sets of grandparents still alive right now. My mom and daddy, Shauna's mom and daddy. On their mama's side, that now on their mama's side, they got great grands, cousins, uncles, all that. I got two uncles left. Two. I never seen my biological grandparents on my biological father's side. I take that back. Grandma Ray. My stepdaddy, we seen Grandma Margaret, all of which have died when we were young. It won't no going over cousin's house, going over, won't none of that growing up. It won't no going out of town to West Virginia to do Christmas. It won't none of that. But I look at my kids, I'm envious, but I'm also thankful because they have what I didn't have growing up, if that makes sense. You understand what I'm saying? They have what I didn't have when we was growing up.
Makes perfect sense. Hello, though, real quick.
Yeah.
I want to put this question on the table and whatnot. And it's still along the lines of what we're talking about, right? In your own words, right? I want everybody up here to tell the women that are watching that will watch, in your own words, why our presence as fathers is so important.
Women, listen. We are the structure. Okay. We need you. You need us. Let's get over this independent bull crap. There is no such thing as independence. Everything on the face of this earth is dependent upon something else. So get over it. Stop subscribing to this feminist movement and let's get back in line because we cannot thrive unless we fall in place. And our children, they need the male figure just as equally important as the female figure. Okay? It's in your nature to nurture, and our children need nurturing. But at some point, that child needs to come off the breast milk, and that child needs the meat. We the meat. And I know you do a great job of bringing them to a certain point, but there is only but so far that one of us can carry them. So we need you to understand. Look at Boys in the Hood. She got her son up to a certain age. It was just a certain point that she just could not do anything. She humbled herself and she said, Furious, you take her. And all of these people out there in a hostile environment was getting killed in the street. And that boy was focused. And it was because Furious didn't play. And it wasn't what he had to say. It was the example that he was. So whether you have daughters or you have sons, men need to be examples for sons for how to do it. But they also, the daughters need an example of dad on how to love them. And it would behoove you, if you will, to allow these children to see what positive love looks like, how you interact with their father is going to be a great it's going to be a great lesson to the child on how they're going to view relationships moving forward in the future. If you're walking around and you think men ain't nothing, we don't need them, they're just sperm donors, they're going to carry that, because children watch what you do more than they listen to what you say. You can't, your words mean nothing unless your actions align with it. So if you have a negative relationship towards men, you're setting your child up, boy or girl, to have daddy issues. And it's going to cost them. And in some cases, it may cost them their life. We need you to because men have taken the infrastructure of this world and they made it such, especially in America, where we're in this first world country, where women have this irrational confidence that they don't need men. When the Most High puts you here for us, we need you, but you need us too. Let us be who we're called to be, because it's beneficial for the children and how they're getting off to the best start, but it's also beneficial to you. The government don't care about you. They don't. But if you're filtering everything, if you're filtering your logic through your emotions, you're thinking about what's good for the present day. Just because the race ain't going the way you want it to go doesn't mean that the race doesn't finish the way that it's supposed to. And that's all the process of working with us. So we're asking you, please.
Be the man. Hey, I'm gonna go ahead and piggyback off of him, and I'm just gonna say there ain't nothing else to be said. You already said it all. That's it. Get out your feelings. If y'all are not together, whatever, the father is just as important as the mother. They need to.
That's my seat.
Lamar, Chris, anybody want to add?
Basically, what was said covers a lot of what needs to be said. Because just like Lee was saying, you're the milk, we're the meat. The most you can add to it is bread. Anything that's malnourished is going to be underdeveloped. The thing that a lot of people don't understand is a man is going to find that teacher, whether it be from the streets, whether it be from scholarly, whether it be whatever, he's going to search for that male figure. The problem that we have right now is our males have been forced into the streets because that was the thing that was in front of them the most. That was the thing that was advertised to them that would take care of their family. They'll take care of their mother. How many of these men have argued and fought and been kicked out of the house by their mother and felt some type of way because their mother kicked them out because they thought what they were doing was right because they were bringing in money to take care of their mama? Because that man was absent, whether it be because he was willingly absent or because you restricted that man from being in that young man's life. So honestly, the only thing that I can say to these females is get out your emotions. Stop playing these games. Because a lot of these females, and not all, because there are very few women that actually understand this point, but a lot of these women are holding their children for ransom. And they're putting their sons in danger because these sons are going to seek out that male that's going to give them what they need to develop. And if they're getting fed some synthetic mess, because there's a big difference between the authentic male and what you find on the streets. Because yeah, you can survive in the streets. The knowledge that's in the streets can help you get through day to day, but it's deadly. It's like synthetic food. It's not real meat. It's processed. So it's important to have the male in that household.
Lamar.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm about balance, man. I think it's important for the male to be in the house, and it goes back to the example that I talked about, Daddy, and his impact on me growing up, and why I am the father that I am today. Um, I saw what it was like, and I'm taking it back to when I first became a father to where I am right now. Like I said in the beginning, yeah, I was in the house, but I wasn't. I saw the negative effects of me not being in the house versus the effects, the positive effects of me being in the house now. And when I say in the house, I mean in the house, emotionally, spiritually, physically, and it involves the children and everything. When I wasn't in the house, I started noticing there was a lot of friction. My kids was cutting up, the grades was slipping. Uh, I even noticed that I wasn't complete. It wasn't until I got caught. I got caught up out there and I got caught cheating. And I mean, we gonna if we're gonna talk about it, let's talk about it. Let's keep it all the way a band, right? And
Right. And crazy for this, actually thought about it earlier today.
yeah, when that whole situation popped off, the, the the idea of me now, okay, it's really about to be me out the house. Now I'm sitting here thinking, okay, well, what about my kids? And you know, what are we gonna do? And this, that, and the third. And somehow, some way, it ain't no somehow, some way. The Most High had a plan for us, and we worked it out. I can tell you now, by me being in the house and me being focused on my household, everything works like a well-oiled machine. Rome, you said something in that first video that really touched me. You said that the man is the head, but the woman is the backbone. And the head can't move, can't look up and down or nothing without being connected to that back. Unfortunately, you don't see that in too many households as far as our people. The man ain't in the house. The connection is not there. And as you all know, the results that come from that. Now, not taking anything away from any of the single mothers out there holding it down. And I know plenty of them out there holding it down by their damn self. But it still does not take away from the fact that we still need that balance in the house. Am I making any sense? I hope I'm not losing nobody. We
Making
still
perfect.
need we still need that balance. Now, I'm gonna go far enough to say this. I need my backbone. I need mine.
Yep.
You understand me? I honestly feel like now, just hitting 40 years old and raising grown children. Now, two of my babies is grown out the house. We still got two more left. I'll tell you what, I could have done it by myself. Me. Me. We talk about me now. I ain't nothing against anybody else. I'm talking about me. There's no way. I'm talking about, look here. I can have $100. I'll take that $100 and pay one bill. But my wife will take that $100. She'll put something on that bill. Go get a loaf of bread, get some peanut butter and jelly, and we'll still have a little something in our pocket to carry us over to the next paycheck. My wife knows how she does it. I don't know. Doctor's appointments, my appointments, the administrative side of running the household. She got that down pat. She do it in her sleep. Me, I'm gonna mess it up. I'm gonna mess it up. That balance is what I'm talking about. I need that. I need that. And I think, well, okay, man. The first thing we got to do, we got to get rid of this pride thing. That's the one thing I had to struggle with. The pride. I was too prideful to give my wife her roses when she did an amazing job at holding this family together. Not now, baby. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. Thank you for being you. Thank you for everything that you do in this house. Cause I'm telling you right now, I'll be lost. These kids will be lost. And she give me my roses. It's that balance, y'all, what I'm talking about. And that is so needed in the household. The kids see it, you know, how I interact with my wife. My son see that. I interact with my wife. My daughter seen that. So they gonna take that same thing today, because I'm taking the same thing that my daddy showed me, and they gonna carry that off into their families and into their household. We need to get back to how it was back in the day, where the mama and the daddy was in the house, and daddy sat at one end of the table, mama sat at the other end. Y'all sat right there. You prayed together. You ate your food. When you got up from eating, y'all cleaned the kitchen together.
Mm-hmm.
Family. That's what it's all about. We can put all this shit in all these different categories, but what it really boils down to is the family. That's what we got to get back to. And you can't have you. I'm having a hard time trying to articulate what I really want to say, but the bottom line is, it's not that one is more important than the other. It's the equal balance and the roles that each individual sex plays. Man, you got a specific role that you got to play in that household. Lady, you got a specific role that you play in the household. And when y'all put those two together, and y'all can do some amazing thing. I'm a living testament of it. And I'm gonna tell you right now, I don't deserve it. All the shit that I done did. That's just how I feel about it. I don't deserve it. I
May
just
I,
think,
may,
praise the most high
may,
for I'm sorry, Lee. Go ahead, brother.
no, let me let you finish. I'm sorry.
I'm just saying, I just thank God that He allowed me to learn. He allowed me to grow. He allowed her to learn. He allowed her to grow, and allowed us to work that thing out. And we reaping the benefits of it right now. And it's a beautiful thing. The one thing I say I have to do better at is not hold grudges, um, and just continue to grow. So we all got room to grow. You understand what I'm saying? We all got room to grow. So that's my goal going forward, is to just to grow and to learn and to understand the best I can about the roles that we play in the household. I'm done. Lee. You got it,
All
bro.
right.
No, I'm gonna turn it over to you next.
You sure?
Yes, I'm sure.
So it's been a lot that's been said, and pretty much all of my sentiments have pretty much been covered or not. Me saying anything else is almost like beating a dead horse. But this is what I am gonna say to the single mothers out there that are doing it on their own. All right, help is on the way. We are literally committing ourselves to being not the man that you want, but the man that you need. And what I'm going to ask is the same accountability that we about to hold amongst ourselves as men, that you do the exact same thing on the other side. While we over here fixing our side, y'all straighten up on the other end. Because as a father, all right, I struggle with the same thing that Lee goes through. I got a daughter out there that I don't get to see. Since she was 9 months, I've seen her once. She'll be 13 this year. No, and I struggle with it because it's like a hole in my heart that really I can't talk to anybody about the way that I want to. And it's an even bigger struggle because I don't know whether, because I have this hole in my heart, whether I'm treating my kids that are with me differently because I'm over here silently struggling about this one. I said that I wanted to take a family picture with all my kids in that picture. All right. And I haven't taken a family picture since it's been some years. And the reason being is because every time I do, it's incomplete.
Mm.
And every time I walk past one of them pictures or I look at one of them pictures or whatnot, that gaping hole hurts. And like I said, it's a struggle because I don't want my other kids to think that, man, he got to love her way more than he loved me. So I keep it to myself. Try not to talk about it with the wifey either, because guess what? It's nothing she can do. It is nothing that she can do. She can hold me, she can kiss me, she can sit back and tell me it's all right. But until I have my daughter in my arms, ain't nothing she can do. And it's not right on either end. It was a struggle, with my son that's with me now. And gratefully, his mom never kept me away from him. And I appreciate it. But even though I got him summers, sometimes on holidays or whenever I could, because we lived in different states, when he came to come live with me that first year, it was a battle. So I can only imagine the struggle that I'm going to go through just to get that hug. Because 9 times out of 10, she gonna have issues with me the same way my son had issues with me. I was still able to see him. And no father should be in a position where they have to prepare themselves for this struggle just to be able to show their child love. And that's what it is that I battle every single day. And I know it's a lot of us out there that battle through the exact same thing. And I get it. I get it. You know what I'm saying? You, for your ones that's out there doing it or whatnot, you want to make sure that we hurt the way each other hurt. Well, damn it. Yeah, mission accomplished. But how long do I? How long do we? How long do the kids gotta suffer so that you get your satisfaction? So with that being said, we're gonna go around the table one more time. One more time. And I want everyone to take a moment. And we're gonna do exactly what the first chapter does in the book. We're gonna apologize so that we can move forward for the sake of ourselves, for the sake of duality between men and women, for the sake of our family, the community, and ultimately our culture. And I have no issue. I will stand in the stead of every melanated man out there. You can take this video, set it in front of whoever it is you need to apologize to, and let it be. I'm gonna give everybody an opportunity. We're gonna go around. We're gonna segue out with this. With this.
I'm gonna be the first because I ain't I ain't did everything right, and this right here is really messing with me because it's something that I've this is something that I've been needing to do for a long time, and that's be real with myself. And I need to free myself. I need to stop blaming myself and beating myself up. I'm not perfect. I didn't make all the right decisions early in my marriage, early as a father. So from the bottom of my heart, to my children, to my wife, to my family, I sincerely apologize for not being the man that I was called to be. One thing I can tell you is, you know, after today, I've forgiven myself, and I pray that the people that I apologize to will forgive me too. But either way it go, I'm alive, which means I have an opportunity to make a difference, and that's what I intend on doing. When it's all said and done and they throw dirt on my grave, I want them to say that he was an empty man, because now that we have a platform to speak, we have an opportunity to do better. That's what I plan on doing. I plan on giving 100%. Like I said, when it's all said and done, I want to die empty, man. I gave everything. I let it all go. I gave everything. I just hope that this video and the ones yet to come will resonate with a lot of men in particular, to forgive yourself, stop beating yourself up, and make a difference. Stop making excuses, stop pointing fingers, stop looking for somebody else to do what you know you're supposed to be doing. That's my challenge to you. So again, from the bottom of my heart, I apologize.
Mm. Don't everybody move too quick.
I'm gonna say something right quick because one thing that I notice is when we talk about apologizing, it's oftentimes a hard thing for people to do. Because when you look at the word, you know that it means to express regret for something that you have done wrong. And a lot of times people don't regret anything until they get caught. Me, I'm one that likes to ask for forgiveness because I look at the fact of I recognize that I've done wrong, why I've done wrong, what I've done wrong. And I can stand before you and admit where I'm wrong. And that's one of the things that a lot of people don't do when they apologize. They just want to say, I'm sorry because I messed up, I effed up. But a lot of people don't ask for forgiveness. And a lot of people don't, after doing such, fix the problem. Because a lot of people don't see their problem. They just see they made a mistake. They never look at the root. So my thing is, in the form of the best way for me to show something similar to an apology is to admit that I've done wrong, admit my absence, admit my abuse, whether it be by substance or actions, admit my disregard and passiveness, and ask for forgiveness for those things. Because at this point, I recognize where I fell short. And I see your strength where you were standing in a place where I should have been standing and working. Get out of that spot. I belong there. And it's my turn to take the reins. So allow me to be that man. Let me stand there. Let me fix that. Let me be present. Let me get rid of the mess. Because this wasn't the role that you were built for. You have a more detailed role, a strong role, and that supportive role handles a lot more than mentally than my role does. And you don't need that physical aspect on top of that. Let me be that man. Just let me be the man. Sit down. I got this. I messed up. Let me get back in place. Because I see where I messed up. I heard what you said. I heard what my boys said when they were keeping me in check. So let me do that. I got it. I got you. I got us. We good.
Got you, baby.
Yeah.
Ah, see?
You're on mute, baby.
Dang.
There
All
you go.
right. I said I'm driving, but yeah, so I'm going to make mine quick so I can focus on this highway. But I'm gonna apologize for the fact for the times I broken. I don't even want to say sir. Many women heart for trying to portray to be a man when, as in the words, are wrong. Realizing that I wasn't a man. For the times that I wasn't necessarily the best brother, the best son, even the best friend, or just merely just the best person that I can be, period, in society. I done my share of wrongs. I done my share of dirt. I will not lie. But I'm taking everything one day at a time and doing some soul searching. I'm trying to be the best person that I can be. Lee, your turn.
I want to, first and foremost, I want to apologize to my wife because you hold this family together and you make it so possible. And although I try to show as much appreciation as I can early on in our marriage, because of my daddy issues, I was trying to get you to operate in a manner in which you were not designed to operate. So I want to apologize to you first and foremost, because the Most High presented you to me and you are everything that I desired. I remember writing in a notebook in specific details what I wanted. The first time I did that with my ex-wife, but it was focused on the visual aspect. Now, make no mistake about it, I focused on the visual aspect the second go around, but I focused on the substance. And I'm so grateful for the substance that you have. I'm so grateful that you're not like the world. And I'm so grateful for your peace, for your gracefulness. And I'm sorry that I took that for granted. And it was the plan of the Most High that he didn't let, he blesses babies and fools. And I was a fool. He didn't let anything happen to us, because what the Most High put together, let no man put asunder, and nobody put us asunder. And I'm so grateful for that. To my ex, I apologize. I did the best that I could do, but it wasn't good enough. So from the bottom of my heart, I'm sorry. And I would love for you to forgive me. And to my daughter, who is 17, going to be 18 this year, who sat across from the table when I saw her and said to me, I can't see you now. Just wait till I turn 18. I pray that you do seek me out, because I'm ready for you, baby. I am ready for you. I will be an open vessel to you, and I vow to lead from by example, and show you exactly what the man that I want you to have. I will be that man, and I'm getting great practice right now on doing that for my wife and for my children. So I sincerely apologize to those 3 ladies. And if you can find it in your heart to forgive me, I will show you, by, like Lamar said, by now and continuing to empty out, leave nothing in the holster, guns blazing for you, for the purpose that the Most High set for my life, because these streets ain't for nobody, and I don't want no part of it.
All right. So first and foremost, before I get personal, to all the women that are out there, on behalf of every melanated man that is out there, we admit that we have failed. We fail you. We have failed our children, our community, and ultimately our culture. We simply need your forgiveness. Let us redeem ourselves. But once again, taking the lead and getting us to where we need to be. It's not going to be easy. It's been a lot of hurt that's been passed down from generation to generation. But we are asking that you forgive us and give us an opportunity to redeem ourselves. And we promise that we would do everything in our power to ensure that that redemption is just. Now, from a personal standpoint, I done been down the altar a couple of times. Even before getting to the altar. To the females out there that I use for my own selfish pleasures, whether it was emotionally, physically, and quite frankly, even spiritually. I apologize. I was wrong. And I ask that in the midst of me forgiving myself, that you forgive me as well. To the mother of my older kids, we was young. We both did a whole lot of stuff that, quite frankly, we probably both wish that we could take back. Quite frankly, I had mastered the art of being able to grow with the individual. But for the hurt that I caused, I do apologize. And again, in the midst of me forgiving myself, I ask that you forgive me as well. Not just for me, but for yourself as well. To the mother of my daughter, the one that I haven't seen in a while, to be honest with you, this is hard. Doing this, what I'm doing right now, it is hard. It's something different if we still wasn't in the heat of the battle. It'd be probably a lot easier. But the reality of the situation is that us coming together, the reality of it is it shouldn't have happened. I hate to say it that way, but that's the reality of it. The place that I was in during that particular time, it wasn't a good place. And in essence, I used you to attempt to shield myself from the hurt that I was feeling during that particular time. I literally felt like our relationship was my punishment for all the stuff that I had done before, and you deserved better. And I applaud you for having the strength to pack up and go. But for the sake of myself, for the sake of you, for the sake of my daughter, the feud has to end. If me apologizing right now, it's the method to putting out the flames, from the bottom of my heart to the depths of my soul, I apologize. And I ask that you forgive me. And understand that I'm pretty sure you have done a great job with raising our daughter. But she got 9 other siblings and a whole nother side of family that she needs to know and also needs to understand. Because the reality of it is, as much as she has you in her, she also has me. And it's going to be some things that go on with her that you're not going to be able to explain. And it's going to require me. To my wife, love you with all my heart, even if sometimes I don't show it. I appreciate every single thing that you do, even when you feel like I brush it off. I couldn't have asked the Most High for a better person. I called you my perfection in the beginning. You remain my perfection even to this day, regardless of how you might see it. We don't always agree, and it's not meant for us to always agree. But one thing that I do know is my children are blessed to have a mother like you. And quite frankly, anybody that you come in contact with is blessed just for being in your presence. I love you. I apologize for everything that it is that I put you through on a day-to-day basis. And I'm going to do better. I'm going to do better. So, I appreciate, again, everyone taking out the time to be on this joint. It was very, very, very emotional or whatnot. I had to turn my phone off a couple of times so y'all won't see these tears rolling or whatnot. But
Look at Lee. Exactly.
this was amazing. This was amazing. I swear I feel like every time we do this, it get better and better. Like we getting deeper and deeper into the rabbit hole. So I can only imagine what next Friday, if we do it next Friday, how we do it. Now, what if we do? I can only imagine. But if you haven't read the book, well, you couldn't have read the book but make sure that when the pre-orders happen, and it's about to happen soon, or now we're in the final stages before we go into the print mode. It's about to happen soon, probably next week sometime. Make sure you go and pre-order this book because you're going to want it. And I promise you, ladies, after this book comes out and you had an opportunity to read this forum, we're going to put you on it so we can start this dialogue. So we can start this dialogue. The name of the book is Can I Be the Man? A letter from us to you. Don't follow me already or not follow me on Instagram. Instagram King Naib. Follow me also. Follow the page on Facebook. King Naib. KING or whatnot. No, yo, we doing this. You gonna do this at least once a week. At least once a week. We are committed. We are committed to holding ourselves accountable so that we can be the man. Not that you want us to be, but you need. Period. Point blank. I'll take it easy. Again, I appreciate everybody that's up here or not. Yeah,